One on a lovely, kind of steamy Wednesday afternoon, and I'm glad to be sitting in the big chair. I'm Dave Sinykin, in for Bump today. Fear not, we are 24 hours from our great national nightmare ending. Bump will be back tomorrow at this time with Guardsy at the fair. It all begins in 24 hours. But for today, you get me and executive producer Brett Blakemore.
Hi, Davey. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I love seeing just the two of us in this room. It's great.
It is great. I appreciate the opportunity whenever it comes to pass. We do, I believe, have a good vibe. It won't be long before we're doing Packer Review podcast together. A day is coming. A couple weeks from now.
Sponsorships available.
Yes, sponsorships available. DM me at TC Head Cheese on X for sure. Or let your favorite iHeart sales rep know you're interested. All right, we got that out of the way. I'm looking forward to catching up. It's not the busiest of sports days, but I think, a pretty full platter for us today. A nice cavalcade of guests and plenty purple to talk about with, I believe, is today the actual final practice, knowing that the game is Friday night. I doubt they do much tomorrow more than maybe a walkthrough or a travel day. Thinking today's the last day of practice, and so we'll dive into what we know as roster battles crystallize. One more game of tape to put on for these players to show the coaches they belong. Sunday, of course, the big cutdown day. I think the biggest news that I've seen out of Vikings practice today was that it was a rest day for J.J. McCarthy, giving his ankle maybe a day to settle down, because they do reportedly want to see him play in the final preseason game Friday night, which you can take one of two ways. Want to get more data points, want to get more time, see how he looks in real game situations. And also, you can look at it like, well, it's a throwaway game. It's the final preseason game. Rare will it be to see too many players after the first quarter who will actually be NFL players a week from now. And so are you preserving Carson Wentz? Well, I think Wentz may play a little bit too. I just thought it was going to be the Max Brosmer game Friday night. And for me, one of my questions was, is this final game going to be Brosmer's last chance to prove he deserves a spot on the practice squad? Because I don't know, is it a sure thing that if they keep three quarterbacks, is it a sure thing that Max gets one of the coveted practice squad spots? Maybe. But I don't know if it doesn't look good Friday night against, third teamers. Again, with third teamers too. You got to weigh that in. But I just kind of thought it might be a last chance to give Brosmer a full game. But apparently we are going to see some McCarthy and we're going to see some Wentz on Friday night. Yeah,
and that's the thing too. They keep three last year, and now you add in the fourth and Kyler, who obviously is the starter, and now you go, well, not only is there JJ and Carson number 2 quarterback terrorism, but do you even keep three at all? Do you get rid of two of them? Will Brosmer get picked up when you tell him, hey, we'd love to have you on the practice squad, but you got to go through? Oh,
please. No chance. I'm sorry. With all due apologies.
Sorry, I was just trying
to Max. There is no way that a team is going to give one of their 53 roster spots to Max Brosmer at this point. You say Brosmer, I say Brosmer.
I was just saying on a practice squad. Maybe someone picks him up there. But he'd probably want to stay here. But
I believe, maybe I'm wrong. I thought if you pick somebody up.
Oh, does it have to be on their 53?
I thought so, but maybe not. But for some reason, that's in the back of my head. I don't know. I thought that might be kind of the big storyline Friday night. Looks like all three quarterbacks not named Kyler Murray are going to get a chance to play, assuming J.J. McCarthy's ankle has settled down and he's good to go on Friday. The ankle is still tweaked, still bugging him a little bit, although he did practice yesterday. But they wanted to give him a day-to-day to stay off it and get ready for Friday night. We'll see how much time he gets Friday night. Are you, when it comes to the last week of the preseason, are you completely bored with it? Do you watch it all? Will you watch the purple on Friday night?
No, I'll watch it. I'm so just starved for real football, and I was just seeing 14 days until a real football game is played.
2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, because it's the first weird Wednesday game. Is that the Australia one?
This is Seahawks Patriots and in Seattle. The Super Bowl champs get a home game.
Well, of course.
Obviously.
And then maybe it's the Thursday game. That's the Australia
Thursday
one.
Is the odd Rams-Niners important division matchup gets thrown overseas. It's really odd that, I don't know. I feel like those big division games should be played in home stadiums. It's kind of an advantage for I don't remember if that was a Rams home game, although a Rams home game is pretty much a road game anyway. It's a Niners home game for them, so I guess maybe it doesn't matter as much. But I was surprised to see especially with two teams that many believe will contend not only for the NFC West, but for the NFC, meeting week 1 in Australia overseas. Yeah, we get Wednesday night, we get Thursday night, and then, of course, the full slate of games on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So just 14 days away. So to answer your question, I'll probably watch all of the Viking game, all of the Green Bay game, just for some sustenance to get me by. But, man, the bye week is going to feel like forever from the last preseason game. And I don't know why they do that, because it's not like any of the starters are playing anyways. May as well just get to the action.
Yeah.
Or maybe just to build a little bit more anticipation after waiting 7 damn months for the offseason to go by. So, anyways, I'll probably watch it just because I'm so starved for football.
I will too. You have to be pretty diehard to watch the final game. I mean, it is about the last, depending on the team, the last 4 or 5 roster spots being somewhat crystallized by what they see on the field. If you're not interested in, who's going to be your backup left guard, then maybe it's not for you. By the way, the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is on fire early.
Oh, really?
Not necessarily in a good way for us.
Well, that's to be expected.
I think my favorite one so far is this from 612 texter. Not sure who I hate more, Blake Moore or Dave. Can we set up a poll question? Do you know how to do that?
I don't know if I want to.
I think it'd be kind of fun. I feel like I win in a runaway because you're kind of lovable. You're lovable with your wild fandom. Your odd, Tottenham Spurs thing that kind of makes you a little bit kind of chic because you like that weird overseas sport. I think you're more lovable than I am. I mean, I've got the wild thing going. I mean, the Wolves thing going for me.
The Wolves going.
A lot of years of.
But you've got seniority though, by a long shot.
Big time. I understand that. I think I've worked up more hate among listeners than you have.
Well,
I don't think it would be competitive. I think
that's a poll I don't want to win.
No, I think I'd wear it as a badge.
Sometimes I tried it.
Yeah, I would wear it on my arm as a badge if I won such a thing. But I appreciate that. 2 cheeseheads in studio. I can smell the stench miles away. Okay, apparently it is Brosmer. That's what several texters are telling me, so we'll go with it. Let me give you the lineup for the afternoon. It's I believe, a 3.5-hour tour, correct?
Full tour,
3.5 hours. We have 3 guests lined up, possible 4th, TBA. We'll see if that comes into focus. But bottom of the hour, we will welcome one of my all-time favorite guests whenever I'm sitting in. Britt Robson covers the Lynx, covers the Wolves. We'll chat with him regarding both teams. It's the latest Wolves news with the ownership shift, maybe some Tim Connolly steam, Jonathan Kuminga steam, and a lot on the Lynx. He's writing right now for The Rake. Just posted a piece, I think, in the last couple of hours, or it will be posted shortly, on the rare loss by the Wolves the other night to the Valkyries. They've got one more game before the big FIBA, sort of pause in the schedule for like 3.5 weeks. So we'll catch up with Britt at 3:30. 4:30, Vikings Talk with Star Tribune reporter Ben Gessling, kind enough to join us to give what he saw at the practice field today, some of his thoughts on where the roster decisions are being made down the wire before the 53-man roster must be announced on Sunday. So we hit Gosling at 4:30. You will do a top 5 for me, correct? Top 5
yes,
at 5?
Sir.
We'll have that at 5 o'clock. And then at 5:30, kind of a 5:30 staple, Lavelle E. Neal III with the Barreiro's program. Lavelle will join. As always with him, a little bit of everything, right? We'll talk a little Twins. We'll talk some Bears and Pack and Vikings. Oh, my. So Lavelle will join at the bottom of the hour. Looking forward to that. Those are the 3 guests today. We'll keep the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line open, however you care to talk to us and whatever you have on your mind. I do want to kind of have a running little thing going, as I tend to do from time to time. With the State Fair starting tomorrow, I would love to know your favorite under-the-radar food that you always must stop at when you go to the fair. The obvious ones are, I'm not looking for cheese curds, Pronto Pups, corn dogs.
There's this little-known place that makes these cookies.
Yeah, Sweet Martha's.
No one knows about it.
Exactly. No corn on the cob, Sweet Martha's. What are the other iconic? I think those are the ones that jump out of my head. But just like the one that's in the International Bazaar building that nobody knows about that you always have to stop at. I'd love to make a running list of that and sort of dive into some text from time to time. So feel free Bradshaw and Brian, KFAN text line throughout the program today, 64686. Your favorite under-the-radar state fair food that when you go to the fair, you will absolutely have to stop and get. Mine, I've talked about it every year. I think it's still considered, to me, under the radar, because I think most people, when they go to the fair, they're excited for whatever they can get on a stick, whether it's a pork chop, an egg roll, whatever it might be. I have to get a turkey sandwich, a turkey to go. That's my go-to. I've told the story before. That's the way I walk in and out. I park on Como. It's like right by the Miracle of Birth, building.
Yep, I know exactly where.
So you always pass it. I probably for 20 years walked right past it and said, "Yeah, right, turkey. That's what I'm going to get at the fair." Right? No, but one year I'm flying out after an In the Zone show. I'm flying out with my daughter Allie to get to a softball tournament somewhere. I know we were in a big hurry. She was starving. Lines everywhere. We strike out. We're like leaving the fair, and the last thing we see is the turkey to go stand. I said, "Allie, how about a turkey sandwich?" And she said, "What, really?" I said, "No, it's supposed to be great." So we each got one, and we were eating it as we were leaving. We were tempted to stamp our hands to get right back in, to go back and get another one.
Wow.
I just think it's a spectacular sandwich. It's just delicious. And so that's my place. And actually I got a buddy now who's running it in the last couple of years, Blake, he and his team run that thing. And he made sure to tell me that they've got a brand new organic cranberry mint lemonade.
Ooh.
That apparently pairs quite well with the turkey sandwich and the turkey legs. That's my place. Do you have a under the radar? First of all, are you a fair guy?
No, I'm not.
How many times do you have to go, have to go as part of your fan duties?
I will be out there 3 times, both Sundays and then a Labor Day show with Russo Radio.
Oh, nice.
So yes, we'll be out there Sundays if you want to heckle me about the green and gold. I really am a basic person when it comes, I like the fries, I like the cheese curds. If I have the time, I'll wait in line for the Amish donuts. Those are unbelievably good. But if one that I'm trying that doesn't have lines around the corner that I really like, you've tried the Luigi fries. Those are
like garlic bread.
They're kind of, yeah. So yeah,
I've seen them. I've never
bread.
had them.
They have the dipping marinara sauce. They used to be right by the fan booth. I'm not sure if they are anymore, but I like those a lot. Those are really good. So. But I'm more of the basic. I'll stick to the standard stuff and stay out of the way.
My goal Saturday is to get there early enough to make the trek to the Amish donut booth. And apparently I've seen on my TikTok feed, they have 2 trailers this year. So double the capacity, which, if you get there at any time after 8 a.m., you're going to stand in line for an hour. And I'm told it's worth the wait. Never had them, but I'm going to try to get there because I've told you my stress level last year getting in the first Saturday was off the charts. It was just.
I remember that.
Slow. I was late. I believe I was late for the show.
I think the Open was playing, but it was close.
It was not good for my blood pressure. I know that. Not that Peachy's Amish donuts are good for my blood pressure either, but you do what you can do. So if you have a sneaky, under the radar state fair fave that you never miss, send it to us, 64686. We'll share those as we move along. When we come back. More Purple talk, and I want to dive a little bit into what happened at the Twins game last night, some noteworthy stuff. Give the Twins a little kiss before we welcome Britt Robson at the bottom of the hour. It's Bumper to Bumper with Barreiro, Sinykin, and Blakemore in the hot seats today, and we're back with much more right after these.
In for Barreiro, it's Dave Sinykin on The Fan.
From the 1-800 app.
To U.S. Bank Stadium, Saturday, April 10th. Tickets are on sale now. Get yours, plus full details on the concert calendar, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
All right, back with you, 3:19 on a Wednesday afternoon. Sinykin and Blakemore in the big seats this afternoon. Barreiro and Guardsy back tomorrow, and of course throughout the entire State Fair run, they'll be broadcasting live, as will all the fan shows, including the weekend shows. Trent and I'll be out there Saturday in the zone. Fantasy Football World follows us on Saturday. I know the Power Trip's doing a show at one point on the weekend this year as well. Hope to see you all out at the fair. I may have broken the Bradshaw Bryant KFAN text line with my State Fair food recommendations. You guys are unbelievable. I'm going to have a hard time keeping up. I'm going to have a hard time not trying most of these, but we will get a list that we will fly through as we move along. I think I've seen several repeats. Nitro Ice Cream has gotten several quick texts early. Not exactly sure what that is. I feel like I don't do a lot of sweets at the fair.
You're not a sweets guy.
I used to be. My favorite for years was the fudge. I think they were called fudge puppies. They were the Belgian waffles on a stick that were dipped in chocolate. And then you could put sprinkles or whipped cream. They were right outside the food building. And for years, that was my one annual sweet treat. I don't feel like, we're there in the morning. I'm there in the morning. I'll be there for Saturday. I'll be doing PA's great NFC North debate on Tuesday with
Which
Lavel
will
and company.
definitely be asked fair and honest questions.
And I'll have plenty of time to espouse my beliefs. It's not like they'll have a clock ticking down or anything like that. But it's the morning. I just, forgive me. I don't want an apple pie. Although, of all the new foods I've seen listed, I think there's 45 new foods. The fact that they can come up with that many new different things every year boggles my mind. But the apple fries, have you seen this? They're like they look like French fries. They're deep fried apples.
And
dusted with like cinnamon, I think, and sugar, and there's like caramel sauce and whipped cream to dip them in. I'm in. I mean, that's one. I don't care what time of day it is. You got apple in your name. I'm a sucker for it. So I'm looking forward to trying that. Keep them coming. We will get to them. I do appreciate you guys taking part. A lot of us for the fair, it's about the food. For many of you, it's not. For my wife, this year, she has a bucket list. She's got a few things in her life she's always wanted to do. One is to get in the Guinness Book of World Records for something.
Oh.
And
Do you have any ideas?
Well, there was an event. I forget what it was now, a few years ago. It was either like around Lake Harriet. It was like the largest number of people to do this. And
so it doesn't have to be her specifically.
No, she can be part of a group.
Okay.
No, I love her to death, but I don't think she has any specific talent that's going to get her in that Guinness Book of World Records.
There's always some weird, pencils broken in a minute or something like that.
Ooh.
Some weird world record that you could possibly do.
I don't think she's looking for that. She just wants to be a part of a group experience. But that's one of them. The other one was to create a seed art, crop art for the state fair, which she did this year. And so she brought it in on Saturday, and by all accounts, it will be somewhere on the wall in that agriculture building, I think, or the horticulture building.
What is it called?
Seed art. You create pieces of art out of seed and
seed art.
Yeah, like seeds and corn and beans and lentils and that sort of thing. And she spent a lot of hours on it, and she's proud of it. It looks really nice. So she's coming out Saturday to join me, and then we're going to go stand in line and get a glimpse. It's amazing what people do. I'm sure many of you make the seed art part of your state fair experience, but for us this year, it'll have a personal touch. We're going to scan the wall or wherever there's hundreds of these are submitted.
Hundreds?
Maybe even thousands. I don't know. I don't know how they're all available to be seen, but apparently we'll be able to find it. So I'm looking forward to that. Quickly on the Twins, who seem to be falling out of wild card contention. This road trip out west has been a disaster. They fell again last night, 4-2 to the Athletics. They're now 1-4 out west. They've dropped their record to 64-69. They're now 3 games out of the final wild card spot with a game tonight at 8:05. Stop me if you've heard this before. Byron Buxton got hurt last night.
No!
Oh, I thought it was going to be a different one.
Oh, what were you looking for?
Well, just that can't believe it. What's that one that I think Common plays it a lot? I don't know. In my head, I had a different exasperated, I can't believe it, tell me it's not true. It's the hip injury again. The hip bugged him. I guess he was fielding a ball in the outfield and kind of slowing down to pick it up, and he felt something, and he got pulled in the 7th inning. He just comes off a game where he had, 3 hits, 3 runs, being Byron Buxton, and now the hip flares up again, which is just so disappointing, as every game right now means everything for this team trying to stay alive. Taj Bradley had, kind of a rough outing, gave up 4 runs, but struck out 11 in 6 2/3 innings. I'm sure you saw this. He also had an immaculate inning, first time in Twins history. So when I saw this, I'm pretty sure I've heard of the immaculate inning before, but it took me a second to remember what that meant. I knew it had to do with strikeouts, but it's striking out the side on 9 pitches. And I was a huge baseball fan growing up, but I really fell in love with the sport in the 90s when all the labor stuff happened and the economics of baseball doesn't excite me. Love the game, don't love MLB. But I thought to myself, when did that become a thing? Because I don't remember as a kid ever hearing about the immaculate inning. So I Googled, immaculate inning, when did it start? Apparently, the very first immaculate inning happened on June 4th, 1889, by John Clarkson of the Boston Bean Eaters. It was a good year for the Bean Eaters.
Was it?
89. Yeah, that was a good year for the Bean Eaters. So that was the first one. Apparently, they were started to be called the immaculate. It's like the alliteration bug caught up to Major League Baseball in the year 2000. That's the year they started actually calling it the immaculate inning. 9 pitches, 9 strikes. It's rarer than a perfect game. Did you know that? Apparently, again, we're just believing our AI overlords at this point. 1 in 37 to 40,000 are the chances of an immaculate inning happening. And this is the first one in Twins history. 3 players have done it 3 times. 2 in your lifetime. Well, how old are you?
I'm 29. I was born in 96.
I'm not sure then. Maybe. I think so. Sandy Koufax did it 3 times. Chris Sale did it 3 times, and Max Scherzer did it 3 times. And one of either Sale or Scherzer did it once, 28 days apart, which I thought was interesting as well. So yeah, it goes back about 150 years, the old immaculate inning. I didn't see it. I don't know if you're watching the game. That has to be kind of fun to see, because you get to that third batter, you've struck out 2 guys in 6 pitches. To throw, if I'm the pitcher at this point, my heart is pounding so fast to even find the strike zone 3 more times doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, it's. Are you at the point? Because a lot of times when you're at a baseball game, not everyone is locked in to every pitch. You know what I mean? Of
course.
How do you think the majority of fans even knew what was on the line at pitch 8, pitch 9?
Well, it's in Oakland, so it's not the home pitcher, right? So
no one knew.
I don't know.
Basically.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
That would be probably a lot more fun to do it in front of your home crowd, because that third batter gets up and everybody's on their feet at that point, and every pitch becomes. So that would have been fun. But hey, tip of the hat to Taj Bradley. Yeah. That's quite a performance in a losing cause, where, as I said, he gave up 4 runs. The offense only had 4 hits last night. I also saw a note that number 1 pick Von Lackey got promoted to Cedar Rapids High A-ball, and was his first game last night. Home run, first game. Went 3 for 4 with 2 walks, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, a home run, and the Cedar Rapids Twins were edged 19-18.
Wow.
In a real pitcher's duel. No immaculate innings noticed in the Cedar Rapids Twins game.
What you're saying is Twins prospect had a great debut, and they still lost by a run.
Correct.
Okay.
That's a way to crystallize
sense.
it.
Yeah.
He was only batting like 203 or something, 209 in the lower A team, and somehow got promoted, and clearly feels good about being in a Cedar Rapids uniform.
Yeah.
He's 21. I don't know what the timeline is for the catcher of the future, but pretty good start last night. All right, let's turn our attention to hoops. Next segment, we will welcome Britt Robson. We'll talk some Wolves. We'll talk some Lynx. We'll catch up with a favorite of mine. Britt Robson is next on The Fan.
You're listening to Dave Sinykin.
The takes don't stop when the mics turn off. You can check out the KFAN YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials and password games, and behind-the-scenes content. Search KFAN on YouTube and hit subscribe today, or go to KFAN.com/watch.
So remember back last segment when you hit the button bar and you didn't play the sounder I was thinking of?
Yes.
A couple texters, thank you very much for giving me more of a hint. It's that button bar gas above average at best, that one.
Oh my gosh, you are above average at that.
Yes, that's exactly what I had in my head, that I thought you'd be playing. No, I mean, no harm, no foul. You played a great one. It's just in my head, I was expecting that one.
We're just not on the same page.
I just wanted a little clarity on that, just so you know what I was talking about.
I thought it was more of a frustrating. I mean, I see how but I'm like, Byron Buxton's hurt again. No! You know,
that does probably fit more cleanly.
But that does make sense.
Yeah.
What you were thinking.
Because I was being sarcastic about the fact that you got hurt. Imagine that, me employing sarcasm as a tool. That's a first for me. I'm not sure Britt Robson has a lot of sarcastic bones in his body, but he has a affinity and a very good ability to write the English word. He covers the Timberwolves for midpost.com. He's been covering the Wolves since they started. He also writes for the Rocket now, covering the Lynx. And I always try to bring him aboard when there's Wolves and or Lynx news to chat about, as we have today. Britt, always great to catch up with you. How's your summer going?
It's actually going pretty well. It's almost over, which is fall's my favorite season, so I'm ready.
All right, so my theme of the day, of course, it's the eve of the State Fair, is underrated, under-the-radar foods. Are you a fair guy? Do you go to the fair? And if so, can you help us along with your favorite kind of under-the-radar State Fair food?
Well, see, I go, but I've started to go a little bit less since my wife doesn't like the crowds as much as she used to.
Mm-hmm.
I go with my son every now and then. But we have traditions, and we have so many traditions that it's really hard to not do the things. And so nothing is under the radar as far as I'm concerned. I go and get the milkshake at the Milk Bar, which, you know, is probably one of the most popular things to do, and there's a reason for it. It's delicious. Pork chop on a stick is good. And you go to the fry place, it's always got way too many people there, and, you know, you get a big bucket. I don't know. I mean, none of that to me sounds remotely under the radar.
No, probably not. But I think the fact, you know, having food traditions with your family is, I think so many people can totally relate to that, because that's one of the great things about the fair, the things you always go back to. That's what makes it special. I love that you mentioned the milkshake, because I actually love milkshakes. I don't know that I've ever had one, but it does segue well into my Minnesota Lynx conversation with you. I just read your most recent story at racketmn.com about the Minnesota Lynx and their loss to the Valkyries the other night, which we'll get to. But I love your description of Courtney Williams, and I'm just going to share it quickly. You said, even without Courtney Williams, Minnesota's deadly mid-range sharpshooter, fearlessly adept rebounder, and feel-good emotional milkshake, who was sidelined. And then it made me chuckle when I read it. And maybe you just have milkshakes on your mind because that's one of your favorite things at the fair. But I love the description.
It's an amazing coincidence, to be honest with you. I did not have the two, at least consciously, remotely related. But I tried to put milkshake in connection with Courtney Williams in a previous story, and the editor didn't really understand it, so I had to put emotional in front of it. But the thing about her, Courtney Williams, is that she's incredibly frothy. She is a feel-good person, and at the same time, she has an intensity about her. I mean, she's a great rebounder, and she weighs $155. So there is this mixture of this sweet, frothy personality, and beneath this churning, intense desire that also recalls milkshakes to me in terms of it. You know, it needs to be churning for it to really work. So, you know, every now and then you try to throw in a word that people may have to think about for a second, but it's more of an impression than a definition.
I get it. I love it. Sweet, frothy, and churning. That's a milkshake. It totally makes sense to me. She's out with a foot sprain. There's just one more game now before the long layoff with the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup. Is there any indication that this is going to be anything that lingers with her? I've seen minor associated with the foot sprain, but anything you know about maybe how long she'll be sidelined?
I don't, but I have to think, since she's not playing on any teams, that it would make a lot of sense for her to stay off it for the last game before FIBA on the 30th and just wait until September 18th, which is the first game back, to find out how it goes. And from all indications that I've read, I mean, we saw the injury. She stepped on, I think it was Fee's foot.
Yep.
Or maybe that was Liv. I can't remember.
No, it was Fee.
Anyway, yep. She turned her foot, and it was a sprained foot. And I don't think those types of things are necessarily going to be lasting more than 3 weeks if you have intense treatment. So I would expect her to be back. There's no official word, of course. Nobody needs to say anything. Although I do think that the game of the 30th is fascinating because, from what I understand, certain players who are playing in FIBA are bolting a little early for different games. And I don't know if the Atlanta Dream will do that because they have a lot more at stake than the Lynx, who essentially have clinched the top seed. But I don't know whether, for example, Dallaire and Chloe Bibby and Dorka Juhats and maybe even Fee for the United States, whether they will suit up for that game or not. And if not, then it'll be interesting to see, maybe get a chance to see some bench personnel.
The game the other night was not pretty. It's the first time the Valkyries have beaten the Lynx in 10 tries. They lost, as we all know, less than a week ago at home to the Lynx. So, is there that kind of obvious sort of they have more motivation in the rematch 5 days later to really maybe come in more hungry? I think some of the Lynx players, maybe Caldwell said afterwards that they wanted it more than we did. That's sort of a natural human condition sometimes when you've sort of owned a team.
Yeah.
But this is a really good Valkyries team. I felt like, at some point they were going to put it together. And clearly defensively the other night, they had a home run kind of game.
I really, really like the way they're coached. I have I've never covered the coach, don't know anything about the coach other than the way I watch your team play. But I will tell you, they are on a string. They really pull for each other. They play with passion. They play with pride. There's no stars really yet on there. Gabby Williams was probably the biggest name on the team right now, but it's just a lot of grinders. And I think that can be a formula. They're pretty deep, They have Chen, a short Chinese point guard, who is, kind of a fearless player off the bench, and 3 or 4 other players. Veronica Burden is a really, really strong physical player. I think they're the second best team in the WNBA, quite frankly. I don't know how that will translate in the playoffs because they're inexperienced, and you've got teams like the Liberty and the Aces who have been telling themselves, we're waiting for the real season, and so I don't know how it will go, but I really do enjoy watching that team every time I catch them on television or see them play the Lynx.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting. I saw a note on X today per Polymarket, the title odds right now of the WNBA. The Lynx are a 46% favorite to win the WNBA title, followed by the Fever at 14%, the Aces at 13%, and the Dream at 11%. So the Valkyries, as a young team, I guess no one really believes that they could make the monumental leap. But, man, when you watch how they frustrated Olivia Miles, it made her look really like a rookie, which I've watched virtually every Lynx game, and I've seen 1 or 2 somewhat clunky games, but nothing was easy for her. She did not look comfortable, and I haven't seen any team do that to her. What, in your mind, was the secret elixir that made Olivia have such a rough night?
Well, I think that they played into her artistic temperament, which is that she does not like the ordinary pass. She does not like to be a cog in the machine. She likes to be the driver of the machine, and she likes to put some sass in her game. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons she's so charismatic to watch, and one of the reasons she is so effective is she risks things and succeeds at risking things that are thrilling and provide adrenaline for her team. But she was playing against a team that, you're right, human nature, they were really up to win this one. If the Lynx had won that game, it would have clinched top seed right in their face. So there are a lot of reasons for it, but they set back in a zone, and one of the things that a zone does is it prevents a lot of movement with the defenders and the teammates of Liv going in sync, and there's less charting. It's less a choreography and more of a static thing. And the way you beat a zone like that is through short, rapid passes. And that plays against, like I said, her artistic temperament, which is to thread the needle on something or to do something really good. So a lot of times she was just surveying the floor, seeing that, there are tenacious defenders there, and they were ready to close the gaps if she tried some of those risky passes. And she was stubborn about not making the basic pass, not making the ordinary pass. And I think what happened there is once she did finally get rid of the ball, there was not a lot of clock sometimes, and sometimes she kept the ball and called her own number. Her dozen shots were the most on the team the other night. but the shooting percentage from three-point range was less than 40%, way below, like 30%, I think, and even from two-point range, where they thought they might have an advantage, getting the ball into Howard and Fee, also wasn't that, and part of that was because the zone was flummoxing Liv, and also because they are just frankly a really strong physical team that had their defenders on a string. And you're right, it was she looked very ordinary, and she is the engine, the head of the snake, whatever cliche you want to use right now. She is the person running that offense. So if you can do that to her, you have a much better chance of winning.
Talking with Britt Robson, covers the links for the Racket. You can read his stuff at racketmn.com. It wasn't just Olivia who struggled. You made it clear in your story. It wasn't a great day for Nafisa Collier either. Talk about what you saw from her performance as she's still obviously getting her legs back, and she doesn't maybe look quite like MVP yet, but that was not a great night for her either.
No, and the stats on her up until last night or Monday night or whatever the game was, have been fantastic. She's over 50% from the floor, 45% from the field, 86% from the line. The Lynx defense is much better when she's in the game. Her net rating is fantastic. So this criticism is based on the thing that she is top 2 MVP in the voting the previous 2 years, and her team was in trouble. They were playing a foe that was highly motivated, and what is required there is a little bit more aggression, a little bit more selfishness, and a little bit more of a desire to enter the fray with your unique and stupendous skill set. And what we saw was she didn't do it. She didn't engage the way she needed to engage. Her team needed her to be something more than just a great complementary player that synergizes the rest of the team, which is what she has been since she's been back. But no free throws, no personal fouls, no steals, no blocks. That's a sign of a person against a highly physical defensive team, of somebody who was not really engaging to the level that they needed to engage against this team. She was 2 for 6 on shots less than 7 feet from the basket. She did get 7 rebounds, but 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 9 points. It was a very ordinary performance on a night when she definitely needed to be something more than ordinary.
Yeah, how challenging do you think it's been for the coaching staff in such an unusual year where heading into the season, nobody really knew what to make of this Lynx team for the first time in a while? They were projected to be kind of middle of the pack, and then they come out with this precocious rookie and Natasha Howard and Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride. I mean, maybe 4 players that deserved to be All-Stars, only 3 got the nod. And then suddenly, midway, 2/3 of the way through, here comes your MVP candidate plopped into your lineup, and you have to adjust to get her in. I don't know that enough is being made about this team still leading the league, obviously with the best record, going to have the top seed. Having to infuse Nafisa Collier in the middle of what had been a record-breaking type season. I feel like the coaching staff deserves a ton of credit for trying to seamlessly weave her back in the middle of the season.
I would agree. I mean, Cheryl Reeve and all the former Link champions who adorn the bench are all well known and deserve all kinds of credit. I also do think that one of the things the coaching staff has done really well is put it back on the players. I mean, Natasha Howard's been a 2-time champion somewhere else, a veteran. She knows the way the Lynx operate. Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride obviously know what is required. Miles is a precocious rookie who also listens to instruction. I said pretty shortly after I began covering the team, as you know, this is my first really year on the Lynx beat, and I joined in early July. But in terms of mental health, this is one of the healthiest teams I've ever seen. They really genuinely pull for each other. They really genuinely try to understand where they can be most effective, even if that role is not a role that it fits them personally best. I'm thinking like of Nia Coffey now, who is really working hard to be as much of a contributor off the bench as she was in the starting lineup. But the fact is, she is a glue player, and she was the fifth option on a team of great four other starters, and she was thriving. She was having by far the best stretch of her career, and to have to go to the bench and then play with lesser personnel that are differently configured almost every time you get on the court, rather than having that, 15 or 16 of your 28 minutes with the same four players. That's an adjustment, and the fact that she's doing it without complaint, even if she's not doing as well, is the kind of thing that you see in this team. And I do believe one of the fascinating things as we move forward, and one of the things I'll be looking to either write about or note in some way, shape, or form, is how Fee changes, if she changes, once the stakes get really high. Because the bottom line is, this remains Olivia Miles' offense. Fee has a lot more control over the defense, but even there, defense is such a team game. But I am really curious to see how these roles start to happen as the intensity and the star players, the cliche, it's an accurate cliche, most of them are, but that these stars elevate their games and become more important. You need those kinds of players. And Fee is, a legitimate star in the WNBA, and it will be important and fascinating to see how she flexes that really broad and deep skill set once things really start to matter.
That's an interesting point. We'll see if she gets more assertive as the games count more in the postseason. Good point there. Now, so let's switch to the Wolves. Quickly, a couple points for you on the Wolves. Obviously, the big news last week, ownership shakeup. Mark Lowry steps back, maybe to the number 3 role as a minority owner, and Mark Stodd and his wife take over as the majority owners, if you will, along with Alex Rodriguez. Apparently, his wife, Elisa, will be maybe the face at the Board of Governors meetings and so forth. What do you make of the change? Did you know anything about this? And what should Wolves fans take from this shuffle? Just seems like just months after the Lori Rodriguez team got rubber stamped as the new owners.
All right. Well, my tendency is to distrust hedge fund people. So, I was looking askance at this whole idea. I also thought it was convenient that they floated the figure. They could have just as easily said, Mark Lowry is going from 1 to 3, and Mark Stodd is going from 3 to 1. Alex Rodriguez is staying number 2. All that is accurate. They threw that $4.5 billion figure in, and I think there was reporting elsewhere, unverified, but by reliable sources, John Krasinski, about how other ownership entities were trying to buy that Lowry share for more than $4.5 million, but they wanted to keep it in-house. All that sounded very convenient since the team was bought for $1.5 million, and all of a sudden you got triple the value, but it's being reported by the people who really stand to benefit from you thinking the value has been tripled. So there's the cynicism. And then before the Valkyries game the other night, Cheryl Reeve was asked about the ownership change, and she was a full-throated supporter of not only Mark Stodd, but his wife, Elisa, and said that she had a long conversation with him, and she believes in his commitment, and she believes that they are really good for the Lynx as well as the Wolves. And she's not the kind of person that usually plays around or hypes things. So I feel better about it, quite frankly. I think that Cheryl Reeve is a fairly trustworthy source, and I think that if she is in this guy's corner, then he's at least worth, holding doubts and seeing what plays out. And I do believe if 1 and 3 are just changing positions, and the 3 seems to be somebody who may be a little bit more motivated, it was no secret that Lowry really was kind of more enraptured with his Wonder product than he was with the Lynx and the Wolves after a while. And so I think generally it's probably good news, but, whenever really, really rich people get together and start playing with money, it's always good to watch.
I think that's fair. And we'll find out fairly quickly, right, as more talk about the next building for this team and how that progresses. And Ant in line for a huge new deal maybe a year from now, and as long as the spending continues and the promise of a new home is still there, then I think Wolves fans will feel somewhat comfortable and confident that things aren't going to change too much.
Yeah, and to their credit, I mean, I had the skepticism towards the new owners coming in, and I thought that they were throwing their weight around to get Tim Connelly in, and it's like the new owner syndrome. They need to put their imprint on the team. Well, that worked out really well, in my opinion. I think Tim Connelly's done a great job, and so as much as I would like to throw shade on some of these people, sometimes when they do things right, you just have to say, hey, good for you. Ant has already played more playoff games as a Timberwolf than anyone else. The KGs and the Sam Mitchells and everybody else's of the world. And so he's 25 years old. He's been in many series already. That is exactly what Tim Connelly wanted to do with the Gobert trade and some of the other things he's done. They've zagged when other people are zigging in terms of both getting Rudy Gobert, trading Cat, and then now trading Randall and Naz and going big backcourt instead. This is a sign of a restless, creative mind running a ball club with the support and flexibility of the head coach. And so I think there's no denying that there's not a lot of competition, but this is the golden era of Timberwolves basketball.
You met last one for Britt. You mentioned Tim Connelly. I don't know if you've seen this bit of audio from Brian Windhorst. I don't know how recently it was, but I just saw it today, where the reporting is that Connelly's going to get a very sizable bonus at the end of his contract with the Wolves, which is the end of next season. This is from Brian Windhorst. He said, when Tim Connelly was brought on board, he was given something called phantom equity. He was basically given a stake in the team, but he didn't actually get shares of the team. He got the equivalent of shares of the team, that if he completed his contract, he would get a giant bonus. That bonus is in the 5 figures. It's not $10 million. It's a very sizable bonus. I take that to mean $10 million is the very low ball, that it's going to be much more than that. How much do you know about this? I've never heard of anything like this. I'm not surprised. The Wolves always seem to set the precedent for doing weird things, but I wonder, does this factor into whether he decides to, maybe move on after this season if he knows he's got a giant parachute awaiting him at the end of next season? Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. When he was hired, there was talk about, this weird, vague equity thing that nobody really could describe, and it sounds like now it's been described. I hadn't seen this item either, to be honest with you. And there is a lot of talk. I don't share this because I'm not as suspicious, at least as far as Tim Connelly's performance goes, that he has basically mortgage the future on existing talent rather than draft capital. He's got 12 guys on the roster at age 26 or below, but he has only the draft picks that he's not allowed to trade under the Stepien rule, one every 2 years. And so you could argue that he's put all the chips into the middle of the table, and somebody who's on his way out the door, or has at least the ability to walk out the door with a lot of money already, doing that kind of thing, maybe draws more suspicion. So I guess, we'll see. I do know that he would be a popular guy to pick up for exactly the reasons I've talked about. He's an original and almost more importantly, a fearless thinker that tries to innovate ways to create advantages for his team, and isn't afraid to, make some big deals. And if the Wolves lose him, I think they'll be poorer for it, but I also think he will have left this franchise in a type of position to hire somebody of near capable ability. I don't think the team falls off a cliff. I think it's far more likely this team falls off a cliff if Anthony Edwards decides that not enough is being done to try to get a winner. And so I do believe that what we're seeing right now, if Tim Connelly is essentially stockpiling future assets and is thinking about an exit, I don't think it's the worst thing that ever happened to the Timberwolves. I do think it's better if he stays. But if he's managed to make that deal and another another general manager is left with having to deal with the players he acquired and wants to trade them for that draft capital, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Always great to catch up with you, Britt. Keep up the great work at the Racket, and we'll talk to you soon, my man.
All right, thanks.
Britt Robson, read his stuff during Wolf season at benpost.com and during the Lynx season at racketmn.com. Just to clear up one thing he said, he mentioned that the new owners, Mark Stodd and his wife, are hedge fund people. They're not. They're venture capitalists. There is a distinction there, obviously. They have about $35 billion in assets that they take care of, mostly apps, very successful apps like DoorDash and others. So just want to clear that up. And also, as long as we're done talking Wolves for the day, today is Naz Reid's birthday. So I feel like we should mention that. And, basically 2 words. Happy birthday.
You're listening to Dave Sinykin on The Fan.
From the 1-800 Ask Gary Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored